Good evening, everyone. My name is Himanshu Takshi. We are Group 4 from Section B. And I guess you guys must have attended multiple presentations during this process. So we'll be making it little bit different. We'll be enacting a small role here. And don't worry, the hint is on the PPT. So I am playing a role of time. Okay. They say the time never stops, but time notices everything. During the process, I have come across billions of dreams which are still nurturing, dreams which are going through the test of mind, dreams which have already impacted the world. If you ever wondered why the world is like the way it is, the answer is a dream. We fly from one place to another because someone dreamt of flying when it was even impossible to think of flying. We call our loved ones using our mobile phones any time of the day because someone thought of inventing something which can connect people, surpassing the boundaries of the world. There are numerous examples where we humans have surpassed my barriers to fulfill their dreams. I would like to introduce two powerful dreams just to give you examples how power is the main part of the dreams.
So I'll be talking about a man who changed the way a nation thinks. So I'm talking about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was born in Atlanta, Georgia. He was the son of a Baptist pastor and an Alabama school teacher. So from a young age, he witnessed the debilitating effect that racial prejudice had on the black community. At the age of 6, he had to give up his close friend because the schools were racially segregated. At the age of 8, he had to give up his seat on the bus because a white man asked him to do so. And at multiple occasions during his life growing up, he was denied entries to multiplexes, schools, theaters. And he felt humiliated and he felt helpless. But what did he do? Other people might have given up, they might have cried, cribbed, or even wept, or just taken the injustice, quietly. But Martin Luther King dreamt. He dreamt of a nation where people would not be judged on the color of the skin, but on the content of their character. He dreamt of a nation where the sons of slaves and the sons of slaves' owner could come down and have a meal in peace. He dreamt of a nation which allowed people to have equal civil liberties and rights. And from the Montgomery bus riots, bus boycott, to marches in Selma and Alabama, and to the peaceful protests in Chicago, he forced the nation to look inside and change the way that it thought. And 10 years after he started, in 1963, around 1 million people from different ethnicities came to hear him speak. And in 1964, he was successful in getting the US legislature to sign the Civil Liberties Act. In 1965, they also passed the Voting Act, which allowed blacks equal voting rights and also gave them empowerment. In 1968, though Martin Luther King was assassinated by a white supremacist, the power of his dreams still live on. 40 years after his death, the US elected African American to the highest political office, which shows us the true power of dreams. So Martin Luther King actually epitomizes one of my favorite quotes, which is from V for Vendetta, which says that people may be mortal, but ideas are bulletproof. Even dreams are bulletproof.
Traveling in the weightlessness of space. She said once poetically and simply, "You are just your dreams." Having slept under the canopy of stars in Karnal, Haryana, Tagore Public School most famous student came out to be the first aeronautical engineer in Punjab, graduating from Punjab Engineering College. This was first of the glass ceilings she had broken. She had traveled 252 times around the earth. This 41-year-old woman was an epigraph of small-town middle-class success. Kalpana Chawla was an astronaut and a space mission specialist. She was the first Indian American and the first Indian woman to reach space. From the beginning of her life, she aimed at the sky. She felt the stars around her and made up her mind to reach there someday, somehow. Casey, to her friends, she was one of the few icons in the century to make her mark into the space. From the words of her mother, she was always very different. She used to cut her hair short, never ironed her clothes, and she behaved more like a tomboyish. And she also learned karate. Her interest was found in her early childhood when one of her teachers found that she is amazing when it comes to stars and space. That came across when she was asked to build an environment project. She was simple and straightforward. Unmoved by the Indian tradition, she was desperate to make her mark in the space, in the area of space and stars. A country where very few women are given the opportunity to come across as a great leader, Kalpana Chawla definitely came out to be very successful. She always enjoyed her work, be it imagining about stepping on Mars or a classroom lecture. She always wished that the youth actually realizes the importance of goals as well as journey. And that is where she came across as someone who followed her dreams persistently. In 1984, after completing her MSc in Aeronautical Engineering from the University of Texas, in 1994, she was selected by NASA to enter into space. Well, normally, an astronaut, once who goes into the space, never wants to go back again because they know about the hazards. But Kalpana was different here because she actually thought that even if she has to die, she loved to be in this space at that point of time, which unfortunately came out to be true. At the end, I just say, I'll quote Kalpana here. The path from dreams to success does exist. May you have the vision to find it, the courage to get onto it, and the perseverance to follow it. Thank you.
Well, I'm here to tell you a story about a poor Dalit woman who was once an abused child bride, but later she moved on to become she's now heading a billion-dollar company. Now, how did this transformation happen? Let me just elaborate on her life experiences. She was married at the age of 12 to a person who was 10 years elder to her. And then she was subjected to torture. She was subjected to torture at her in-laws' place. And that was the moment she was decided to move out. 2 years of torture, and then she decided to move out from her in-laws' place with the support from her family. Once she went back to her native place, the society ostracized and criticized her, ridiculed her for her choices. And she attempted suicide for the first time. But she was rescued by the family. And that was when she decided that she's going to live on. She's going to do something really big. And she's going to achieve something. She's going to do something with her life. She moved to Bombay and started to work as a tailor with a wage of 2 rupees per day. And from the government funds that she had got, she set up her own boutique. And later, as and when the financial situation became stable, she invested into furniture store. Then she ventured into real estate, property, sugar industry, and finally, she's now heading Kamani Tubes. Now, the most transformative part had come into her life when the labor of Kamani Tubes approached her to represent the company for financial institutions as well as the government at the point of time when they were facing a debt of 116 crores. She was not only able to convince the finance minister of India to cut down the entire interest rate, but also she was able to bring down the principal amount by 25%. Friends, I'm talking about Kalpana Saroj, who was awarded Padma Shri in the year 2013 in the field of trade and finance. She was an ordinary woman, but she had extraordinary dreams. Her dream started with she just wanted to live a life on her own terms, and that's how she started her dream. And now, she never hesitated to take up any challenges. In the process, she lit up a lamp not just for herself, but also for the society. We all have dreams. Some are small and some are big. But all that we need is the courage to take it forward, and a hope for a better future. The negativity in Kalpana's life actually had made her more strong and determined. So at the end, I would like to conclude by just asking one question. Do we have a dream, or do we have excuses not to fulfill those dreams?
I'm going to tell you something about the beloved former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Born to a poor imam in the sacred city of Rameshwaram, this boy, who sold newspapers to support his family financially, ended up being the father or the supporter of India's national defense and space program. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam epitomized everything that Indian youth needed in the dire time of demographic dividend. Dr. Kalam, basically, Dr. Kalam, as a lot of us here are handed down dreams from our family, Dr. Kalam was no different. His father dreamt of him being a collector. To fulfill his father's wishes, Dr. Kalam took up examination of being a collector. He did not perform too well and gave up on it. To supplement his dream of becoming an Indian Air Force pilot, he applied to the Indian Air Force Academy. Indian Air Force Academy at that time had 8 seats. Dr. Kalam came in a woeful 9th, missing out on his dream marginally, which was a big drop for him. After that, he enrolled for BSc in Physics at St. Joseph's. And while pursuing his BSc in Physics, he understood that he wanted to pursue something in engineering which would help Indian defense and space program. After doing his engineering from Madras Institute of Technology, Dr. Kalam initiated various projects in space and defense sector, notably the creation of the space satellite launch vehicle, which is driving India's space program forward. Not only that, Dr. Kalam, after retiring from his job and taking up the role of India's president, emphasized more on communicating and connecting with the youth of India, because he realized that it was important for them to feel valued. It is as his dreams, as his words about dreams are, dreams transform into thoughts, and those thoughts transform into actions. It is important to guide those dreams into proper thoughts. It is important to guide those thoughts into actions, as these actions dictate the future of a nation. The youth are the future of a nation. Dr. Kalam did not stop there. After completing his tenure as the President of India, to give back to the society, give back to the students of India, he started teaching as a visiting faculty at IIM Shillong, IIM Indore, IIM Ahmedabad. His zeal to do something for the youth of India, to motivate them in the right direction, did not stop until the moment he passed off while giving a lecture at IIM Shillong. It's a fortune for India that Dr. Kalam intertwined his dreams with that of the country. Because of him, the country was able to realize his dreams, which goes a long way in development of India. His vision for India, which included development, freedom, and India to stand up to the power of the world, are the goals on which our Indian policy has been formed these days. And it's an utter pleasure that he was a part of our Indian democracy. Thank you.
A boy was born to very relatively humble beginning in the late 19th century. A boy with a very small dream of getting selected into university to study arts, but he failed, not once, but twice. So he opted for a plan B, to serve his adopted nation, to serve his nation, to fight wars for the nation. But ultimately, he lost the war. But he didn't stop there. He founded a small party with one single dream of making that country the best country in the world. And he eventually even got successful in doing that, but at the cost of what? Massive destructions. And yes, I'm talking about Adolf Hitler. the principal cause of the World War II, which led to loss of lives of 70 million. 6 million Jews were very brutally died. World power dynamics changed. Cold War began, and what we see today, many present world problems are the result of the World War II. So what I here want to point is that dreams don't always are positive. A moment of thought, a moment of negative thought can also transfer into realities, like Bhagat also mentioned, and it can lead to massive, massive destructions. This all resulted from what? A single dream of fascist nationality. So, all I want to say is channel your thoughts in such a way that it can give positivity to the world.
The example which you have seen had courage, passion, and ambition. But one thing you noticed that these dreams didn't result into the same thing. Some divided the world and some gave vision to millions. So I would like to say there's the power of the dream is the important thing. And now I would like to end this PPT with the AV.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Thank you. We are open to questions.